That's good. But do they permit those things? Because when I was there in 1999 to, even in 2006, they haven't permitted us to, light the crackers and all.
Oh, really? I think this year also they banned in some cities. I'm not sure for my city because people were doing that, and we had some, leftover from the last year. So in my family, we did with those. So I really, but I think people were sailing outside. Yeah, but I think Delhi it is completely banned for this year.
Yeah, no, it's basically due to, COVID and all. I
Uh,
believe it might have allowed because, quite a few, Indians couldn't come back to India because of, these restrictions and all those uh, additional, challenges we have in travel now, right?
yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Even when I was trying in the, from Nagpur to Mumbai, there were challenges. Like, I had to go to airport around 3 hours before, and
Hmm.
there was lots of checking. They check the temperature. They check the temperature at least
Yeah,
3 points, and
yeah,
then
correct. Yeah,
it's lots of chaos there.
yeah,
People
correct.
were
Correct.
complaining,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
plus,
that's
that
true.
they call that suit, right? What do you call that
Oh,
thing? The
oh yeah.
raincoat.
Yeah, this time, like now they are not giving because when we started from New York, they
Uh,
didn't give anything like that. It's just you have to wear the mask. And but after coming to India, there was like a big queue for everything, to get out from the airport, and there you have to fill up the form, like
uh,
where are you coming from, what's your name, your passport detail, and then where are you going. You have to give the address with the address proof and all. So these things, even if you have already filled up everything online, you have to do it again. So
it's
those
it's
things were,
really not comfortable to put on those things and sit for at least couple of hours. It's really you sweat
yeah,
like,
it took
and even
almost 2-3 hours. Yeah, that
didn't kick on the AC too good, so it's really difficult. I find
yeah.
it quite uncomfortable. You
Oh
couldn't sit
yeah.
naturally, right? Means,
Yeah, you
forget
cannot
the
sit. You have
mat.
to stay in the queue. Yeah, so you can't sit. That's true.
Yeah, exactly. But that's okay,
Yeah.
man. That's a part of life now. I agree.
Yeah, I believe so too. But it is, yeah, good for us only. See, otherwise it will spread like anything and we won't be able to control it if we won't keep the track.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. That's why we put it on, right? Because we want to be safer and all those things. But I'm just
Yeah.
trying to look at it from the other angles, the comfort angle.
Yeah.
But you're right
Yeah.
in the scenario. Means we need to follow those things. So I'm with all the policies and procedures. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely it was uncomfortable, but yeah, what we can do.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Last time, this is a bit of revision of last class as well. We were discussing HLD, then we moved on to basically different aspects of HLD, the layered diagrams. We talked about bit of technicality, so that's why we are overall revisiting this thing. And then we basically, as an BA, whenever you start working, we normally have to have something called HLD for our comfort zone, our what I can say thought process, and we should be able to control the document evolution, even the solution evolution. That's what I talked about, right? So high level diagrams are basically drawn by BA, not for itself, like it's basically ready for distribution, and this depicts the overall your knowledge as in BA. This depicts as in my interpretation of the system in my thought process. There is no strict templates for this, but we try to create an imaginary representation of our thoughts in terms of bit of technicality or bit of distribution of a system. That's what I'll say. Mostly it talks about number of conceptual blocks, logical blocks from a non-technical angle, and the communication with the environment, right? So when we talk about something like attendance management system enhancement, so what comes to mind? There should be some attendance management system existed pre vision of or pre thought process of whatever this system is coming into existence, right? So I need to depict that system. I need to depict the number of enhancement what it comes out to. We are going to add to that system, plus what are the new avenues or what are the new facilities or advantages we're going to add to the client, to the development partner, right? And then we think on that line, like for each and every addition, what are the things I'm going to put in? What are the developments I'm doing? What are the additions I'm putting it in? And so on and so forth. So I am talking about whatever solution I am giving to the client, what are the environments it's going to fit in. That's the major objective of HLD. Also, for business analyst, HLD tells you how we evolve the system. Means now in agile days, agile is basically about the flexibility, right? You talk with the client on almost daily, if not weekly. There could be some weekly call also planned. It depends, like how the client is availability, how the time zone is matching up, and there are other logistical challenges. So still it's really compulsory to talk at least once a week to each and every client, at least twice or thrice per release. Release is whatever you create and you deliver, right? You deliver incrementally in agile. So you talk, you see the evolution of the vision as well. Because when client to start with just says, okay, I want to have an attendance system enhancement, that's one thought process. But when you go to next step, we'll try to understand how these enhancements are going to get added afterwards as well. And once it finds, okay, there are some shortcomings in whatever we implemented, so let's tweak it a bit. Now this tweaking from client angle can be a bit of tweaking as far as implementation goes. For as a development partner like Infosys, it can be a small project by itself. It depends, because business people, they are not that technically enabled to understand. Even if you tweak something as short as moving one Irish scanner from here to there are lots of logistical challenges can be faced by implementation. Because the cabling, the range, the light, and then there are quite a few different angles to it whenever you change certain things, whenever you try to enhance the solution, right? Now we are enhancing the attendance management system. So to check out or to know the evolution of the solution, to know the enhancement planned within the solutions, we normally update HLDs. And this can be as simple as plain and paper diagram. This can be as complicated as the diagrams which we are going to see. It depends on BA, how he wants to depict. It depends on the organization which he works on, so that how to add these things. And there's no right or wrong, but these are basically must have how it's evolved, right? So if somebody wants to check out when we added so and so component, you should be able to go back a couple of diagrams and guide him or her, saying okay, we have started thinking on this and we have released in so from so and so date, so it's almost these many months. And I believe we are good in terms of maturity of the solution. That's how we normally discuss this. So HLD is kind of traceability for BA, so that how the solution is evolved, how I have improved the solution, how I'm being flexible, I'm being pro client here, right? So there's a bit of satisfaction as far as solution angle goes, right? So that's why high level diagram basically explains the architecture that would be used for developing that software product. This is predominantly used by IT company. So this is again an IT domain, thing. But these IT company mostly almost 90-95% they use HLD. So I've kept this thing, and we were discussing in depth because as in software means when you go to join an IT company, and mostly as an Guru School, we work with IT companies, means the companies who are working in IT domain. So I believe this is a kind of necessity to understand HLD, necessity to understand how HLD you can device, you can depict, or you could draw a simple diagram, right? So let's try to move ahead. Let's try to understand how HLD can be drawn. We've talked in last class, but we are just revisiting because there were lots of challenges in terms of IT based nomenclature. Yes, it will come because we are trying to depict a business problem in an implementation way. So we are going a step towards the IT solution. We are going a step towards the overall progressive IT implementation of the business problem, or business problem solution to be precise, right? So there will be some technicalities, and we need to understand, if not all of it, at least at least up to a great depth. Because whenever you draw HLD, of course we will be there, but whenever you draw HLD, you should understand what are the things it needs, what are the things we need to consider, we need to understand to get an basic HLD. And this is high level diagram, as it the name says. So it's high level. It's a bird's eye view of an overall system. So you don't have to go to a nitty-gritty level. This is not owned by BA. Mostly it's owned by the project manager or the project visionary within your team. So this can be Scrum Master, this can be product owner from your side, not the client side. There could be a product owner. Normally they name it because he approves on behalf of the client's product owner, as depending upon availability and logistical connection and those challenges. Okay, so we're going to understand how we are going to devise, draw a high level diagram, right? That's what the overall agenda today. So there's a technicality involved, and we need to understand this. I think this class and the next class will be a bit technical, and then we'll complete our BA, and then we'll go to a, as I told you, we'll do a workshop that will also take a couple of classes. So we'll try to understand how BA works for a business problem, and how many documents, diagrams we normally draw for a given solution, and how we discuss it. So you need to present those things, right? So we are almost at a end of business analysis part of the overall training, and then we'll move to QA, QC, Scrum, Agile, and those parts. Okay, so let's try to understand HLD. So this is basically an overview, a bird's eye view, possibly non-technical, mildly technical, because there are other system, we depict the other system interaction, so there could be some technicality involved. The highest design should be briefly describes platform system. So the overall technical team try to give you an idea what type of servers we are going to use, what type of operating system we are going to develop this product on, and so on and so forth. High level diagrams are not decision making entities, but they guide you, they guide the users to a level, they guide the viewers to a level where we try to think of the system on a solution bird's eye view level, right? So let's try to understand one HLD, and we'll take it up from there. So this is what my depiction of attendance system enhancement. That's what the label I give. If the client have not specified any label, what I've tried to put in here, these 6 points in the dark blue, you can call it box, right? On the left hand side, it talks about current attendance system, which is manual. We have paper register, logbook. We normally sign by every employee. The supervisor observe with the identity checks, like if it's Ravindra Pandey or somebody else signing for Ravindra Pandey, and so on and so forth. There's a need of a conversion to HR resource. There was a need of this is a time consuming, so we need to save that overall times and the 3 resources, looking at the register and so on and so forth. And many offices have different column names, different sequence of sign-ins, this thing, plus the data entered to SAP might be erroneous, and so on and so forth. So this is what client's wish list. So I can include the client wish list and try to devise a solution based on that. So what I have suggested, we need to enhance it to a cloud-based system, which can be automatic, which can be common throughout the globe. So be as many as offices State Farm has, it can be connected to the online system, and the data can be pushed in and pushed out, which will be on for 24/7. And so there is no separate data collection for attendance, right? That's what these are suggestions. These are extension of vision. I am talking about high level diagrams, right? And what are the suggestions? Whatever thought comes to me whenever I finish my first meet or finished couple of first meet, right? So whenever I start drafting SRS, I have this HLD in my SRS, right? So what I do, so I'll put down my suggestions. So I really believe some biometric scanner, some iris scanners, some view management system in this, because as it global, I need to really think of something. If the person is not there, person will be there, and those kind of scenario. We should think about a standard data distribution across the offices. There should be some alert for approvals, alert from leaves, alert from for holidays, planned holidays, and so on and so forth. And the system should be unified all across the offices. There should be some central command, right? So the HR could basically review all holidays planned and so on and so forth, and plus pull out some reports, right? And plus, we can push and pull the data from SAP connector, or this SAP connector. What I have a thought, like we've talked after I drawn this HR, the HLD, the product owner from client side came to me, hey boss, we have SAP, so we need to push the data to SAP, right? So this is a kind of additions afterward. So what, as an BA, I think, okay, this is how I evolved. So whenever I had my third or fourth meeting with this product owner and State Farm, Keshav, he suggested that they have SAP. So we need to push the data to SAP and get the data from SAP as well, because they include the new employee, whoever joins them into SAP first, and then I can pull that data, which is kind of approved employee or registered candidate for interviews and all those things. I can get that data on the attendance system, so I can issue the guest pass. I can issue all those other things which are required for the guest also, right? Because whenever you talked about attendance system, it will be installed on the door, right? So there is a good way to include the guest pass as well. So I can ask, add another box here saying I want to. Okay, let me. Oh man, why is not coming? Give me a minute. Mm, okay, insert. I need to insert a shape saying I need to have something called guest pass as well. So I'll add a system here saying keep guest pass entry. I can change the color whatever I want, right? So I can put it in, let's say, green color or whatever color. Let's say I put it in this color. GUEST guest past ENTRY. TRY. So this is a kind of new functionality which I have thought or I have devised on the basis of whatever discussion I have afterwards with the client, so that I know how the system gets added. And I normally save this as our SRS is a release document. So whenever the next SRS will be released, we'll have this functionality added to that SRS. So this picture represents an addition to, okay, pardon me for this alignment challenges. This addition can be basically even reflected in the SRS in other business goals points as well, or functional parameters as well, right? So this is how I keep evolving this attendance system enhancement, and I can save this as a different version. Have you understood what we are trying to do here? Can anybody explain in his or her word how you see the high level diagrams? Can anybody?
Ravindra, at what point we'll make the high level diagrams after all the flow charts and everything? So this is kind of a final conclusion. We have, like, in the blue we have the problems and in the yellow we have the solutions. So at what point we will be making the HLDs?
As I told you, whenever we start working on SRS,
Uh-huh.
and as I told you, SRS is a document owned by BA, right? They
Yes.
prepare it, they author it, they get it approved. So this diagram is basically kind of inclusion of to the SRS whenever you try to release SRS, whenever you release SRS. So this is the kind of last thing you do before releasing the HRS, so that this is your depiction of high level bird's eye view of the solution. Does that
Okay.
answer your question?
Okay, because if I'm not wrong, you said those blue thing like current attendance system manual. These are the problems which we are getting from the client, and we are putting it in the HLD diagram. And the
That's right.
yellow part suggestion, that is the answer we are giving to this problem.
Right. Perfect. But
Okay.
I can include the problem also, so that I can reflect. Means, as me as a personality, I believe I need to list the problem first, and then I give you the solution to the problem with the corresponding, functionalities or corresponding support to the business problem. That's how I depicted here. So when I says many offices have own standard, okay, the STAP connectors which will be standard, right? So
What is SAP
client have to
connector?
give
It's a software.
SAP connectors, in the sense SAP, okay, let's not, connector might confuse you because this is a bit technical one. SAP data push pull. Does that sound bit easier to you?
No,
SAP data push pull.
no.
No, just like yesterday, I asked you that SAP, is it the SaaS software that you're talking about,
Yes,
or the
yes. SAP is a software. It's a generic ERP software.
Yes.
I'll- So, mm, ERP at client.
So
So,
we are making the HLDs, this SAP will always come, or it's just you put it just to explain us?
no, 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 no. See, the client product owner in my subsequent meeting told me कि we have an SAP and this system needs to talk to SAP because all the new employees whoever join who are basically kind of qualified for the interview, we key in their details in our SAP,
Okay.
right? So they have all
Okay.
this name, address, phone number, email address, and all those band party entities for a new interviewee. So whenever he or she is going to visit our office or we're going to call him via phone, video conference and all that, we normally enter into SAP,
Okay. So this SAP, a column, it is provided by the client and we are putting it here.
right? Because this system needs to get integrated with that system. That
Okay.
is existing system at the client's place.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
No, no problem, no problem. So could you please explain in your words how the attendance and enhancement HLD, you could envision or you could see?
Me?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, HLD diagram is something where, I mean, that's my understanding, like we are getting a problem. So in the blue part, we are putting all the problems and what's the current attendance manual, paper register, all kind of whatever questions are coming in the mind, we'll just put it in one column,
Right.
which in this we try to find out the solutions. So okay, whatever solutions, whatever suggestions we can give it to, so we'll put it in another column, and I'll
No,
just
column might not be the right word. You can say logical or conceptual box. Does this is not a column? This is basically a kind of box, right?
box.
Um,
Okay.
this is a kind of conceptualization of the design. We are trying
Okay.
to conceptualize or making these logical, separated entities, right? So this is what I call client suggested business problem. This is what the solutions which I given to the client pertaining to this problem.
Okay, what you call these boxes?
Conceptual entities, conceptual or logical different solution which I have given to the problem.
Okay.
These are
Okay.
solutions, right? So it
याद
can be
करना
six
पड़ेगा ये.
boxes, it can be 10 boxes depending on your thought. See, this is again business analysis vision of solution.
Okay. Okay, we have to, yeah, those terms we really need to keep on, I
Exactly.
mean,
And that's
revising.
why I keep talking. I even talked about logical, diagrams whenever we started our BA class, so that we need to understand. See, we are walking from a business to IT, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these transitions, they have certain, even if not framework, but they have certain labels to it. They have certain discussions point to it. So when you say conceptual diagram or logical diagram, this is what it is. We are
Logical.
you're building the concept from the business problems, you're trying to implement in a IT solution way, right? We are giving solution to the State Farm as an Infosys employee.
Okay. So one another question, these HLD diagrams we are creating and we are giving these HLD diagrams to program managers or to the developers whom we are giving these HLD diagrams. They
To
will
the
be
program manager will be the right word.
program manager.
Right.
Okay. And
See,
this will be like once we create our SRS. So this is the summary of SRS.
yes, very correctly said. That's what I want from you. So this is a kind of summary of overall solution which we are giving for the business problem to the client. Very
Okay.
correctly said.
Okay. Thank you.
This is what I want from you. Means forget about technical words I can give you, but once you understood the basic, you could be explaining your words. That's what I'm looking for. Very correctly said. Please go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. So once I'm in this logical diagram, yes,
Uh-huh.
we will create one logical diagram for our problems, and then we'll try, and then automatically it goes in the cloud base, means it will go in the cloud by itself.
No, we need to deploy, and nothing goes to cloud-based means why I'm saying cloud-based. I have given solution to the um requirement of kind of evolution of manual to automatic. It's
Okay.
kind of availability throughout the many offices. That was a problem. So this cloud-based 24/7 is a solution to the problem where they have many offices, many standards. So I'm trying to unify the standards. I'm trying to make a system which is available 24/7 and which is
Okay.
automatic. So nobody has to turn it on, turn it off. That's why we use
Okay.
cloud.
So means once we find the solution, it will automatically go to the cloud, and again when we are opening it and we are revising it, we don't have to redo our work. It will
Exactly.
already be there.
Perfect. Really nice. Great words. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So once we have a logical box for our problems, we'll try to focus. We'll create we'll put our SRS in a diagram for form
Mhm.
in the suggestion box. And
Right.
once we have all the suggestions, then only we can forward this HLD to the program manager, and it
Right.
will go in the development phase.
Right. Rather than suggestion, let's call it solutions. This
Solution.
sounds, more relevant, right?
Yes,
And
solutions.
as an BA, I can improvise this thing whenever I feel. I can really add or subtract because this is my thought process. And whenever I explain the way solutions I'm giving to the or the what I can say elicitation of requirement or the vision of whatever I as an BA conceived of for a problem and explaining it to the CEOs, CTOs, or the project managers of the world, I'm trying to have my own representation. This is BA's representation. So there's no right or wrong. There's no template. Even couple of companies have their templates. Like we'll have those layered diagrams which are shown afterwards. But these are like suggestions. These are not like you need to use it forcefully.
Okay.
But yeah, there could be company who says कि boss ये template है इस डब्बे में ये डालने का. It can be a possibility, but normally that's not the practice. In Infosys, you are at an liberty. Okay, so okay, let me try to explain to you in some another way. Business problems are mostly non-digital format. They say boss यार मेरी गाड़ी नहीं चल रही मैं क्या करूँ. There's something like this means I'm just talking in a layman terms. And as a person, as an BA, try to provide a IT solution. Okay, so गाड़ी नहीं चल रही के लिए IT solution difficult है जान दो. Okay, attendance system challenges है. Okay, IT solution दे सकता हूँ मैं. So क्या दोगे आप? ओके तो आपका क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम है. सो मेरा अरे बहुत बोर है वो रजिस्टर फट जाता है पन्ना गायब होता है एक बंदा दूसरे का साइन करता है एंड ऑल दोस पिटफॉल्स ऑफ अ रेगुलर रजिस्टर और लॉग बुक्स टाइप ऑफ अटेंडेंस मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम. ओके नाउ ओके रजिस्टर नहीं चाहिए आपको. सो क्या कर सकते हैं अपन. व्हाट इज अवेलेबिलिटी टेक्निकली. सो बीए थिंग्स ओके लेट्स हैव समथिंग लाइक बायोमेट्रिक. सो किसी का अंगूठा लेके कोई दौड़ेगा नहीं बट फिर भी पब्लिक ने उसमें ढूंढा है सोल्यूशन. वो सेलोटेप पे फिंगरप्रिंट लेने का वगैरह वगैरह. It works, but most of the time it doesn't work. But there are some really good there could be possibility of wrongdoing. So what I have iris scanners. So I'm improving my solution for the problem of a client, right? And I'm suggesting him to start with. So this can be a diagram rather than looking at your 20-page SRS document. The guy in the client, if he knows you're working for an IT company, he'll ask boss HLD दिखाना मेरे को. So you'll pop up this thing on the screen and tell him कि ऐसा ऐसा किया है. And this is the first thing
I have a
basically.
question.
Come again, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry to disturb you in between.
No. There's nothing disturb. Please go ahead. Don't worry.
Okay, so where are we making these diagrams?
Where in the sense?
I mean, on Excel or PowerPoint?
No, I have made
or-
it in Word. You can make it by pen and paper also. If you go to even PowerPoint, you can make this. As in PowerPoint, I've shown you, right, how to, there's something called insert. And there's something called insert shape. So if you click this thing, you have all those options. See, these are, this is what I recently used.
Yeah.
These are lines I can draw. These are the, different rectangles, basic shape, arrows, and all those things. So,
Okay, so this is
whatever
you made
I'm
on
thinking
PowerPoint.
in terms, come again, sorry.
This is you made on PowerPoint, right?
Yeah, I made this on PowerPoint. That's right.
Okay.
So this is available to you. You don't have to use extra, but still you can use pen paper if you feel that is you're comfortable with. See, there's no template, and BA, it's important to depict your thought process, right? आपने क्या सोचा है उनके solution के बारे में. So it depends on you how you want to represent it. You can have these, even boxes also. But let's, think it through. आपने इसमें से निकाला. So इसमें you have these database symbol used for database and all those things. If you hover it, it gives you a label also. Like this is flowchart or. So this is a, kind of this thing. These are different symbol. If you go here, these are flowchart symbols, right? So you can use as an activity diagram as well. And then you can, there are stars, bailout, call outs, and all those things. You can do a mix and match. That's what I'm saying, said last time. Try to build an, HR, try to build an HLD by yourself so that you'll, get a hang of it. Like we did it for use case, right? Now you can draw use cases very well. Even if you get any tool, you could do it on a tool, but otherwise you're good with pen and paper as well. So that way, that's what I'm saying. See, this is a personal, way of representing a solution. So you could use this, you could use, whatever tools you like. So it depends on, you as an BA, you as an, person visioning solutions to be given to the client. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. So, yeah. Anybody else want to explain?
Yeah, I can explain.
Please go ahead.
Okay, so this HLD diagram is like, when we are working for some company and they have some problem, then we have to find out the solution. This
Right.
HLD is like, for this, just 1 second. See, that the problem is we have to, remember the terms what you said, right?
No, don't worry. See, we are not, presenting right now to CIO CTOs. You can speak in your terms right now.
Yeah.
We'll learn them.
Yeah.
Don't worry. It's called logical or conceptual blocks.
Conceptual diagram. Yeah, I just written somewhere, so I was looking for that. Yeah, sorry.
That's great way. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So this is like we are making a conceptual diagram for the solutions.
Wow.
Yeah. So
this is great. So I believe you are trying to understand it, and it's really good efforts.
Yeah. I think I understood. Yeah.
Great.
Just
no
1
problem.
second. Something is pop up on my laptop. Let me. Yeah. Now it's fine. Yeah. So this, as I told you, I couldn't, study the previous things. So SRS, right? You said that we have to make the SRS, and after the SRS is done, then only we can make this HLD diagram. So this is all the solution we think about the problem.
Right.
So in this blue box, we understood what problems the client is facing, and for that problem, we just think some solutions. These are the suggestions we are giving them. So it's like we told them, okay, this is like all manual, so you have to maintain the registers, which are sometimes not possible, and sometimes even we can do the wrong entry, or something can miss. So we said, okay, we can do a cloud-based thing, so you don't need to go and make the things, you don't need to save every time, it will be saved automatically. First thing is that. And second, we said you can go for the biometric scanner, but again, like you said, that there are some flaws in the biometric scanner.
Right.
So for that, we can go for the iris scanner. Because again, you explain how it works. That we have to go for the leave management and standard data distribution. Alert is like, when somebody wants to take the leave, he has to go and apply for the leaves, and the system will tell whether they have the leaves, that much leaves they can take or not. So if they have that much leaves, then it will be approved and it will be go to the manager directly, and manager will then decide whether he wants to the leave or no. And if don't have enough leave to apply, then the system itself has to tell, okay, you don't have the sufficient leave. So these kind of things we are trying to make, right?
Perfect, perfect, perfect.
Yeah,
Great,
so,
great, great. No problem.
yeah, so that is like, I think, alert and approval. And then unified system and central command is like, there should be one central command, which will control
Perfect.
everything.
Central control system or whatever you want to call it. See, these are
Yeah,
my labels. You can do
yeah,
it in your words, and I would really want you to try. So whenever we finish this class, just take pen or paper, or if you want, you can use Word, PowerPoint, whatever you are comfortable in. Try to draw HLD for the diagram which we have discussed. Okay, right now if you have pen and paper, just jot down couple of things. We are talking about a system which is going to support or enhance the attendance management system in State Farm, and me as an BA working in Infosys suggesting a solution to them. So I want to have an high level diagram for my solution, drawn by me, authored by me, or conceptualized by me, to be shared with client. So just jot down some of your thoughts. Okay, we're going to see another HLD diagrams example as well, which are more technical. This is a kind of non-technical overall, but yeah, there are technicalities. So now we are trying to jot down the technicalities in the solution as well. So that's why I'm saying ki try to build your own diagram, so how it's done, right? And then we can add the flora, fauna, and whatever the project managers suggest and all those things, because HLDs are normally, once you draw it, whenever you share it with your project manager or your reporting authority, who might be, he'll suggest something कि बॉस ये येलो ठीक नहीं लग रहा, इसका अपन ना नीला या कुछ डिफरेंट कलर. बिलीव मी, दिस थिंग हैपेंस. मींस आई हैव सीन दिस थिंग बिकॉज ही सेड आई विल नीड अ ग्रेडियंट फील. ओके, हाँ ये नीला थोड़ा प्रोफेशनल लगता है. हाँ हाँ राइट, ये लाल नहीं चाहिए, लाल की जगह कुछ तो भी और डालते हैं यार. ओके, सो क्या डालते हैं? So let's see which is more. I need something reliable. I need, okay, now green looks professional. So believe me, these things happen. Even this red is rule looks like warning. So let me fill it with some gradient, or क्या बोल सकते हैं, let's have solid fit, but थोड़ा ये चाहिए मेरे को, प्रोफेशनल कलर चाहिए. So I'll put these things. Okay, this looks fine. So believe me, this thing happens. And whenever you come out of that meeting, so it's called basically, as we discussed, right, it's called draft of SRS. And now you are modifying the SRS document within your own team. So you work with a team. There could be many business analysts. There could be a project manager working if you are the alone BA. So you might have a meeting with solution architect. You might have a meeting with solution architect, PM, and some different guys who can be something like sales manager who was talking to client about providing this solution, right? So they come up with the likings, they come up with a color combination, they come up with the all the suggestions, all the nomenclatures. So this is a kind of your thought process have been modified to an organizational thinking. There could be some additional box which is suggested by a technical architect कि बॉस एक काम करो, यहाँ .NET डाल दो और जावा डाल दो. जावा अभी बहुत चल रहा है, हॉट केक है, राइट? और आईडी स्कैनर की जगह यहाँ अपन फिलिप्स डाल देते हैं या सोनी डाल देते हैं, अच्छा लगेगा. बंदा जब देखेगा को बोलेगा नहीं अपन ने यूज किया है. सो दिस थिंग्स कीप हैपनिंग, राइट? एंड as I told you, this is not owned by PA. This is inclusion to the SRS by PA with the other suggestions as well, right? So this thing happens. Now, whenever I, modify this as per the team's, collaborative work, this happens. Though this diagram can be something else, whatever you thought through. So you don't have to learn everything as of now, but you should know when somebody talks about boss ek HLD banana tere thought process ka. So this is how it happens. So you sit down, you work with Word, you work with pen paper, you jot down your thought process, as in whatever you believe as a solution to the client's problem. Do you understood what I'm trying to say here?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, great. So
I just have a question.
please go ahead.
How Java will work here?
I couldn't you. Could you please speak a bit louder?
Yeah, you put the last thing, Java. You said you can add that also. How this thing is gonna work here or improve the thing?
Okay, this kind of technology we use to design this solution. This is what
Yeah,
the project manager or So this kind of, whenever you share this with client for approval, okay, if he wants to contradict with Java, he can directly say कि नहीं यार Java नहीं चलेगा क्योंकि वो SAP है, SAP Java के साथ बहुत प्रॉब्लम करता है, so एक काम करो इसको .NET में बनाओ. So ये होता है. And
we
okay,
have
why?
to
Okay, let
understand
me
languages
let me tell
also,
you
right?
why we put this technology here. Okay, it's not a necessity to put this is art. This is not a science. But if you put a technology, if the other party wants to contradict with you, right? क्योंकि see हर एक का favorites रहते हैं, right? So if that guy don't like Java, that guy don't like .NET because of any other system which he forgot to tell you. ये होता है, believe me, this is actual scenario I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah,
So
I understood,
those
but for that, don't we know about the Java and .NET?
no,
I mean,
you don't
other
have to.
languages.
See, that's what I'm saying. HLD is not owned by BA. It's a part of SRS, and you get it normally reviewed or updated whenever you have draft meeting. It's called document draft meeting. So whenever you release this, SRS, before releasing SRS, you normally discuss this SRS with PM or other BAs, because everybody has their own vision, right? So this is we are trying to depict the solution which is going to give it to client. So it's really crucial part in terms of suggestions or pulling out the contradictions. So बाद में झगड़े नहीं हो, इसलिए we try to basically, कैसा बोलूँ मैं आपको, if I know कि my better half don't like red color, but I like red color. So if I pull out a red t-shirts and try to give as a present, है ना, so मैं क्या करूँगा, जाने के पहले I'll check with him or her कि यार एक red color का t-shirt ले लो ना, I like red color on you. This happens, right? We've seen this in our real life. Anybody?
Yeah,
So
that's true.
something like that. कि यार पहले ही देख लूं मैं, कि ऐसा नहीं कि बाद में झगड़ा हो वहां जाने के बाद, मेरे को रेड कलर पसंद है बट ये बंदे को अच्छा ही नहीं लगता रेड कलर. It's nothing to do with culture, it's more to do with likings, right? So मैं क्या करूंगा, हाँ, जाने के पहले थोड़ा शॉप में जाके कुछ ये करने से अच्छा मैं पहले ही बोलूंगा एक रेड कलर का टी शर्ट लेते हैं क्या तुम्हारे लिए. एंड दिस इज नॉर्मल स्टेटमेंट सेइंग कि ओके मेरे को चाहिए बट आपको चाहिए क्या. इफ इज इज ओके चलो देखते हैं, लेकिन मेरे को डार्क रेड चलेगा. तो व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू डू, आई एम ट्राइंग टू कम टू अ यूनिफाइड सॉल्यूशन, राइट? हम लोग दोनों मिलके बात कर रहे हैं, झगड़ा नहीं स्टार्ट हो रहा. क्योंकि वहां जाके अगर मैंने रेड टी शर्ट उठाया और अगले को एकदम ही गुस्सा आया तो हो सकता है, राइट, कि वहीं पे शॉपिंग रुक जाए अपनी. So for that, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to go near to the client. I'm trying to build some communication channel. I'm trying to remove contradiction from my route. So there are chances, there are things which we can put it in this diagram. That's what that's why I say Java or .NET, right? And this is evolutionary diagram. So अगले release में इसका शायद ये box ही गायब हो जाए और ये box यहाँ पे आ जाए. CLOUD COUD DEPLOYMENT है ना, हो सकता है. सो वो बोलेगा कि नहीं ये डब्बा बड़ा कर दो, ये डब्बा छोटा हो रहा है, या ये डब्बा ठीक नहीं है. सब कुछ इसमें है ना, तो एक ही जगह सब कुछ लिखते हैं, है ना. और फिर ये ऐसा करूंगा मैं, और क्लाउड डिप्लॉयमेंट में यहाँ डाल दूंगा मैं कि विच मीन्स 24/7 चलेगा ये, ऑलवेज ऑन फॉर सपोर्ट. ठीक है. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to basically build the solutions, build the what you can say supporting factors as well. जो पहले मेरे को लगा था कि जैसा सैप का करेक्टर, ये तो मेरे को अलग से एफर्ट्स लगाने हैं, बट ये इसके लिए एडिशनल एफर्ट्स जो है वो भी मैं यहाँ डाल सकता हूँ. So I'm trying to be an evolutionary diagram. I'm improving my diagram as per my thought process. ये मेरा डायग्राम है, किसी ने मेरे को नहीं बताया कि हाँ ये डब्बा चाहिए, ये डब्बे की जगह आई कैन यूज एनी अदर डब्बा एज वेल. सी देयर आर क्वाइट अ फ्यू नंबर ऑफ वेरिएंट्स अवेलेबल फॉर मी. आई कैन यूज दिस डब्बा. अबे चेंज नहीं हो रहा क्या? ओके गिव मी मिनट. आई डोंट नो. सो इंस्टेड ऑफ दिस आई एम यूजिंग दिस. No, it won't let me change, I believe. Okay, so I need to basically copy this. I'll tell you. Control C, Control X, then I'll say insert. I'll do insert this, I'll draw this, and I'll paste this. Yeah, I think this is how it works. Okay, so even this is how you can improve it. because there are no guidance. And whenever you have meeting, you train to basically be accommodative, because it's a teamwork, right? BA can be a single individual, but still we work as a team, we represent as a team. So you do modified, you do consider their suggestions, right? Any additional questions for me at this moment? Okay, I'll move on now to the. Sorry, go ahead, please.
Yeah, sorry for disturbing you.
No, there's no
And
sorry. Please start asking question. Don't worry.
yeah, okay. And not only the attendance system, there is a lot of what do you say that problems work. What my working in a company that get that right. Not only the attendance system, or only the attendance system we're getting the problems. You saying that?
No. Okay, client came to me saying he want to improve his attendance management system. So we are
Okay.
considering only attendance management system at for these discussions. There are many
Okay.
problems with the company.
Many
Believe me.
problems. So that's right.
Yeah,
So we
yeah,
can use whatever they are asking the
yeah.
manager from Milton, and they
Yeah, the
will
first
he will
problem
say
you'll
that
face,
a lot of
parking problem. If you're working in
okay,
New Jersey, New York, parking
okay.
problem.
Oh yeah, there is a lot of
I know.
problems. So through come to us, and we have to give a solutions in the
Yeah. So
presenting different ways. You saying that
exactly,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, that's that. That's that. What I got it. So that's I'm asking. Is that
So
true
we are
or
trying
not?
to give the solution to the problems which clients have come up.
Come up. Yes, that
Right.
that
So
yeah.
we are trying to give a solution to the problem at hand, to be precise.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. There
Okay,
is a
I
lot
was
of that.
basically I was
If you
working
go
mostly
to
in
that,
St. Louis
okay.
and all. St. Louis is like very liberate space. So we have all big parking space, like football stadium and all. I worked
Okay.
for Union Pacific Railroads. We had
Okay.
a 6th floor parking, and it was really huge. Huge means, believe me,
Yeah,
it's
we are
almost like
understand.
a bigger mall. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and when I went to their Stanford office, even they had an office in New Jersey, for
Okay.
that matters. So there they had just 3-level parking, and when I contacted the boss, I couldn't find a parking space. So the reception lady told me, oh, okay, go to this company, and you can park on this floor. That's also rented by us for this special event. We
Oh,
had a company gathering and all those things. So that time, so we parked in some other place. So this thing happens in New York and New Jersey area, because
yes.
you are short of space and all those things. So these are
Yeah.
logistical challenges. So there are many challenges whenever you work with a company. But yeah,
Okay.
so
And
this is
what
the
it is an
problem at hand.
only
Yeah,
the
please go.
attendance. Yeah. If you come to the attendance, these are the
Uh-huh.
solutions. What the we going to give it for attendance
Right, right.
about that what that doubts and all the things. We're giving a conclusions and all. But when we go other that, so there is a lot of solutions. What we have to think and we have to present that, right?
Right.
That's it. Okay.
Uh-huh.
That okay then. Sorry if I wrong if I say
No,
something
no.
wrong.
Okay, you
Yeah.
want to present it because you are authoring the SRS. आप
Okay.
लिख रहे हो, आप
Yes,
उसको
system
हाँ
requirement.
डेवलप कर
Okay.
रहे हो. Just call it, you're developing a document called
Okay.
System Requirement Specification. What it
Okay.
does, it tells you, overall what type of solution you are proposing to the client. You work
Okay.
as a team, right? You work with a team. There could be many other VAs who are working on this document. अगर if there are 3-4 BAs, you get distributed logical paras within SRS. Like अपन ने SRS का template देखा, उसमें नहीं
Okay.
about 16-17 कुछ I think कुछ 6 या 7 chapters है. So there could be 3 BAs working on 2 chapters. So you might get a chapter called HLD, you might get a chapter called business or executive summary.
Okay.
Executive summary normally talks about the client. So what I
Right.
read, what I write, executive summary of State Farm. So State Farm क्या करता है? Insurance बेचता है.
Insurance based.
हाँ. So so whom I first met, I met Keshav, who is a VP HR in State Farm. When I met first, I gone with my sales manager Ravindra, and then we had discussion. So he was really talking about challenges in his current attendance system, which was a kind of paper based system. लोग आता है, साइन करता है, सुपरवाइजर आई कार्ड चेक करता है, फोटो आईडी चेक करता है, बहुत बार दूसरे का साइन करने देता है, नहीं करने देता है. अरबाना शैम्पेन के ऑफिस में रजिस्टर लाल है, इधर के ऑफिस में रजिस्टर नीला है, मीन्स आई एम जस्ट sharing the challenges whatever he discussed with you, and then
Okay.
we have as an development partner prepare, create solution for him, right? And
Okay.
normally we create a document which is signed or approved for a given project, product or support. So what is that document? The document is system requirement specifications, and there are
Oh,
some entities and you working on couple of them, right? So you should be prepared for all those chapters, and believe me, we'll have a workshop, so we'll write an SRS for a client, and we will discuss that SRS at a length, so that you understand as an author, as an BA, as an visionary, so that how you give solution to the client. So for all these problem he shared with me, which are depicted in these dark blue blocks, saying that these are the solutions which we as a development partner suggesting to you, right? सो
okay.
जब आप बोलते हैं कि सुपरवाइजर इधर जाता है उधर जाता है, तो पता नहीं लोग बहुत कुछ इस एक दूसरे का भी साइन कर देता है. सो व्हाट विल आई हैव अ बायोमेट्रिक स्कैनर, आई हैव एन आईरी स्कैनर, सो दैट मेरी आंख निकाल के कोई वहां नहीं डाल सकता. अभी तक तो ऐसा फंडा नहीं है, बट पब्लिक कहीं भी सॉल्यूशन ढूंढती है. सो लेट्स नॉट गो देयर, लेट्स ट्राई टू सजेस्ट व्हाटएवर प्रैक्टिकल सॉल्यूशंस वी कैन गिव एट दिस मोमेंट. एंड देयर इज अ टीम टू हेल्प मी, राइट? एज एन बीए मेरे पास एक टीम रहती है. इवन इफ मैं अकेला बीए हूँ, अकेली बीए हूँ, फिर भी I'll have at least team of 4-5 people who are closely working with me. There can be technical architect, there can be solution architect, there can be a project manager, or there can be subject matter expert जिन्होंने बायोमेट्रिक के साथ पहले काम किया है. So they'll work with me, they'll tell you, hey, this iris scanners is really great solution, try to include this thing, ये फोटो डालने का, ये उसका लिंक है प्रोडक्ट का, try to understand. आप भी थोड़ा खेलो. So you can also go to their site of Philips iris scanner, Sori iris scanner. So इसको कितना लाइट लगता है, कितना वोल्ट लगता है, किसके साथ कनेक्ट होता है. I'll try to do research, I'll cut copy from there and paste it in my SRS. So there is a bit of suitability or compatibility or R&D on the basis, with SRS as well, with BA has to do. So ये भी it's a part of overall developing the solution or thinking the solution for the client, है ना?
Okay.
So SRS is all about the initial thought process of a solution given by a BA to the client. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
No
And
problem.
yeah,
So that's what I'm saying. Try to draw an SRS. ये डब्बा मेरा thought process है. You can use oval. See, if you go to insert on your PowerPoint, there are lots of shapes available. I can use oval. This is my oval shape, and there are lots of. If I right click on this oval, there's a format. I can use gradient field. I can use this type of gradient. I can use that type of gradients. If I like red color, red color आना भाई. पता नहीं. Means there are lots of, there's a radial, there's a rectangular, play around with this. See, there are these different colors. I can go this way. So आपको try to use your imagination, try to build some what you can say HLDs, so that you'll play around with it, and then we can understand how do you think about a solution, right? So take an homework whenever you have time. It might take 10-15 minutes, not more than that. Try to draw a high level diagram for state farm, for attendance system enhancement, because अपन ने discuss किया है. So the points in, point out, right?
yes.
हाँ, so आपको imagination में काफी आसान पड़ेगा. Just try to jot down certain things, try to imagine a solution and try to depict in a diagram. Now we'll move to a bit of technical terminology. Normally HLD कैसा depict करता है? So let's try to think as a mature IT organization, how HLD will be designed. So what we normally say, there are layers of applications. So there are solution layers to my solution. So in my solution there will be a presentation layer, there will be a business layer, there will be a data access layer, there will be something called data storages, okay, or data stores, whatever you want to say. So these are database, what I'm talking about. There are some UI components. UI means user components. There are some business interfaces. There are some data access component, and so on. So why this technicality? Because this is normally done, and that's what we call entire approach, layered approach. You might have heard from various IT people. If your better half is in IT, you might heard this thing. This is the entire application we are talking about. So there could be a couple of challenges in, connecting this tire with that tire, this layer with that layer. There's a logical layer, there's a business layer, and there's a data layer, and so on and so forth. So this name doesn't, really fixed. These names normally depicts the overall different conceptual blocks of our high level diagram. Okay, you don't have to use this nomenclature right now. I'm just sharing with you to understand what this means. The UI layer or the presentation layer means the web page. So whenever I log into a website, the first screen is called home page, which is a kind of presentation layer. So all web pages are presentation layer. Business layer is basically whenever you click submit, your credential goes to a server. It's called web server. A server sitting in, let's say if you're joining in Infosys, a server sitting in Infosys office or Infosys data center, which basically verifies your credential, saying, okay, this is a username and password came to me. Is it a registered user? Can I authenticate it? So web server's database says, ki, haan, he has visited last time so and so. Yes, these credentials are correct. So database says, go ahead. So, web server comes and tells you, you are authenticated to do transactions, login successful. Hota hai na, we have done this thing, right? As in users. Now we are thinking in terms of technicality. Andar kaisa hota hai, right? So I keyed in my username password. This my web page send those credentials to web server. The web server checks with the database where my credentials are already there. They checks कि A capital था, B छोटा था, C बड़ा था, D छोटा था, whatever. And these passwords, as you know, these are normally encrypted. So whenever you type, normally you can't see, but the computer can see, right? So your presentation layer encrypts the username password and send it for check to database, and database know how to decrypt it. Let's not go to a technicality level. Just try to understand how this different layer works. So in case you need to depict, or in case the organization has some template called HLD and they want to depict in a layer, we can depict it. So please don't worry right now about the tiers and layers. Just try to understand the word. Try to get the word in your thought process. Try to, try to just understand is, kind of learning technical English. Okay, you don't have to key in as such, but if you can, be my guest and we can discuss at length. This show of the maturity of a BA as a technical person, right? So this is not a necessity. This is a kind of better suggestion, good to have, best to have, those kind of scenario. Okay, I'll move to the next. Any questions for this for me at this moment?
Yeah.
This application layer also we will be preparing it?
No. See, you're not preparing, you're just drawing the diagram, right?
Okay.
You're an artist, you're drawing a diagram. Application layer is in the application, the product, project, services, whatever you're developing by project manager team.
Okay.
We are trying to conceptualize the different logical components which we have suggested to segregate in these layers.
Okay, like UI components, UI process
Perfect.
components. So
Perfect.
we will be writing it?
No. This is not writing. This is basically
So what is
conceptualizing the application. Please go ahead.
What is the use of application layer for a BA?
I told you, right? The login process. So application layer are basically web pages. So whatever web pages we develop, whatever it goes to the user, whatever users see is the presentation layer. It's called UI component. So web page is a UI component. The login screen is a UI component. The ATM screen which you see where you touch, that's a UI component of the ATM system.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just the 2% of the whole application stands behind. It's a tip of the iceberg, right? Because there are only 6 buttons, right? Click in ATM, and you can withdraw whatever money you want to withdraw, right? From your account. Your bank account might be in Timbuktu, and you're accessing those things from New York or New Jersey, right?
समझ में आया कि मतलब क्या काम क्या है एप्लीकेशन लेयर का?
Application layer का काम मैंने, we are trying to segregate the different component of the high level or the logical components of the solution which I am giving to the client in these layers.
Okay, so once the development is done, then we will make this diagram.
Oh man, this is really bad. This is a
Sorry.
diagram we include in SRS, which
Okay.
is in visionary document before anything starts.
Okay.
इवन अपने को डेवलपमेंट टीम भी नहीं चूज किया है, डेवलपमेंट
Okay.
टीम इसके बाद चूज होता है, इसके अप्रूवल के बाद.
Okay.
आपके साथ नॉर्मली देयर इज अ सेल्स मैनेजर हु गोज टू द क्लाइंट, और अभी तक प्रोजेक्ट अवार्ड भी नहीं हुआ है, or there can be project awarded to you and you're working as an BA, so you are analyzing the requirement. This is pretty early. So वही मैं बोला, there's no wrong or right here. We are visioning the solution given to the client. समझ में आ रहा है?
नहीं.
अरे बाप रे.
So sorry. Actually, see.
No, there's nothing to be sorry. See, it's my job to make you understood. So that's what I'm trying to put some time into it. See, think it in this way. कैसा बोलूं मैं आपको? You got a problem. आपकी कार चालू नहीं हो रही है.
Okay.
So क्या करेंगे आप?
मैकेनिक के पास जाएंगे.
अरे कार चालू नहीं हो रही तो जाएंगे कैसा यार?
कॉल करेंगे, आ जाएगा.
हाँ, right. नहीं, think logically, because logical thinking is really important whenever you're trying to find a solution, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when मेरी कार नहीं चालू हो रही तो मैं क्या करूँगा? I'll try to find mobile. अगर मैकेनिक बोलेगा 3 घंटा लगेगा, so what I'll say, I'll ask somebody who is nearest possible to me. Might be husband, might be a friend who knows bit about car. So what he'll do, he'll come, he'll try to start it again. आपने 6 बार किया लेकिन वो भी स्टार्ट करके देखेगा, राइट? ये नॉर्मल प्रोग्रेस है, ये अपन नॉर्मली करते हैं ऐसा. सो ये जो स्टेप्स अपन फॉलो कर रहे हैं ना, SRS is one of such step in the early things. Like you say, you call your friend. What you do, you prepare a document which has to be approved by the client and my company where I'm working, so that vision thought process has been definite thought process. It's finalized, right?
Okay.
Because मेरा सोच बदलता है. कभी मैं चाबी चला के देखूंगा, कभी मैं बोनेट खोल के देखूंगा कि कार चालू क्यों नहीं हो रही है. भले मेरे को समझ में नहीं आता बैटरी क्या है और इंजन क्या है, बट स्टिल आई ट्राई टू ओपन द बोनेट सोइंग कि कुछ वायर लूज तो नहीं है. वी डू दैट, राइट?
Yes.
This is not a rocket science. This is just a human thought process. So the vision, the thought process changed. So what I do normally, I'm trying to put a unified thought process in a document which has to be approved by client. So when client approves this thing, he thinks कि आपने जो सोचा है, मैंने जो सोचा है, उसमें काफी similarity है. So I keep building on that. I keep adding things on that. Even clients keep adding that things on the document. So this document is my discipline, is my framework to start developing a product. Could you understand this?
Yes, आप जो समझाए वो समझ में आ गया properly. बट अभी जैसे ये प्रेजेंटेशन लेयर है, ठीक है? So, ये UI कंपोनेंट, UI प्रोसेस कंपोनेंट, फिर ये नीचे बिजनेस जा रहे हैं, बिजनेस लेयर, बिजनेस वर्कफ्लो, बिजनेस कंपोनेंट. सो ये सब चीजें समझ में नहीं आ रही एक्चुअली. ये टर्म्स है कि क्या है ये
टर्म्स है. अपन ने जो भी कंसेप्ट थिंक किया था यहाँ पे, कि ये मेरे प्रॉब्लम है, राइट? ये मेरे सॉल्यूशन है, ये मेरे एडिशनल प्रॉब्लम जो सॉल्यूशंस जो मैंने बाद में सोचे हैं, ठीक है? तो ये मेरा एप्लीकेशन का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है, ये मेरा बोनेट है, ये मेरा बोनेट है, ये मेरा इंजन है, ये मेरा पेट्रोल है, ये मेरा सीट्स है. So these are different entities within of the solutions which I are going to provide to the client.
Okay, so if I am not wrong, this is like जो हमने पहले HLD बनाया है उसके बेसिस पे हमको हमारे प्रोजेक्ट में कौन से कंपोनेंट्स या कौन से मतलब या कंपोनेंट्स को हिंदी में आई डोंट नो कौन से कंपोनेंट्स चाहिए, वो सारे हम प्रोसेस बना रहे हैं कि ओके वी नीड दिस सो दैट इज वी पुटिंग इन एप्लीकेशन लेयर.
Right, we are trying to segregate as per the thought process of technical guys.
Okay,
है ना? ये जो है, हाँ, ये लेमैन्स टर्मिनोलॉजी है, ये टेक्निकल टर्मिनोलॉजी है, है ना? और ये आपने नहीं बनाया तो भी चलता है. The project manager or the technical architect, whoever is working with you, can draw it for you. But अभी मैं इसलिए बता रहा हूँ कि you should know these things. So अगर कोई client CIO पहले मीटिंग में पूछता है कि what do you think which will be the best UI component as of today, तो आपको ये समझना है UI component ने वेब पेज बारे में बोल रहा है. So ये normally बोलता है public, because whenever you meet, even in what you can say IT enabled company, they talk on these terms. So I want to make you enable for this technical terminology, है ना. So आपने ये समझना जरूरी है कि UI components क्या होता है, या business layer भी करके कुछ चीज होती है, data storage करके भी एक चीज होती है, so on and so forth, है ना. So this is basically, there are some technical support with you whenever you talk to client, but you should understand at least the labels of it. And this is the way the HLD can be depicted. We can be drawn. So we are looking at different way of representing the solution or conceptualizing the solution.
So client को हम HLD नहीं दिखाते, application layer दिखाते हैं.
HLD ही दिखाते हैं क्लाइंट को. SRS में HLD जाता है नॉर्मली. एप्लीकेशन लेयर दिखाते हैं. अगर आपको चाहिए तो आप ऐसा HLD बनाओ या ऐसा HLD बनाओ. It's a way of representing. It's one and the same thing. Only this is much more technical. This is much more segregated.
अभी समझ में आ गया.
No problem. Same. This is another way of representing.
Lot of questions.
नहीं, no problem. It's a good thing basically, because अपने को ये करना है, right? अपने को job में जाके ये करना है. So the earlier you understood, it's better. So there's nothing to be sorry about. This is better. Basically everybody can understand in depth. बहुत सारे लोग ना questions नहीं पूछते. If you're asking, it's a good thing. So don't worry. Only thing, we trying to understand the technical terminology, and we will understood. अभी नहीं, लेकिन कोर्स के अंत तक तो अपने को पढ़ना ही है ये, है ना? So something like that. Now here इन्होंने क्या किया है? They've depicted the user separately, which is interacting with the UI components. Could we see here? Same terminology. अभी कुछ vertical है, कुछ horizontal है, right? So security is vertical. UI components is horizontal. So these are the horizontal layers, vertical layers. ऐसा भी depiction होता है. You can draw it in this way as well, right? You can draw it like.
Why is it like that?
No, it depends on your culture, your thought process. See, everybody thinks differently, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has its own thought process. Some might like rectangular shape, some might like oval shape. Am I right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So some might like this way of representation, some might like this way of representation. There's nothing right or wrong, and this is basically, we are trying to depict the vision. We are trying to draw the vision which BA is thinking. So if you are comfortable with drawing like this, there's nothing wrong. This is my HLD. If you are comfortable in drawing like this, or you might get after let's say 3-4 years down the line, you feel this is much better for me, है ना? So that's also a valid thing. There's nothing wrong or right. This is basically how you represent, how you try to draw these diagrams, right? So it's your what I can say thought process which we are trying to depict as a diagram. ठीक है?
Yeah.
So don't go by the words. Just try to understand कि diagrams ऐसे भी होता है. So यहाँ पे मैं क्या depict कर रहा हूँ? I have a mobile app which is going to the gateway, then it's going to the account service, inventory service, shipping service, and there's even desktop से भी access हो सकता है, mobile से भी access हो सकता है, and so on and so forth. So this is a solution which is accessible for mobile and browser. Browser in the sense browser, right? Desktop पे browser होता है.
Yeah, we know that.
Right?
Yeah.
So those things. So this can be Zoom meeting, this can be Microsoft Team meeting or Google Meet, and so on and so forth. So there are different choices available for my solution, and then it will interact in this way. I'm trying to this is a more, bit more technical than the other ones. I'm trying to basically depict the request flow here. Don't get baffled, don't get irritated, don't get what I can say feared by such depictions. It depends on you as an BA how you draw your diagram, right? These are different representation by different BAs, And yes, these are quite senior BA who is working, who can be a solution architect working as a BA. So that's why this was a kind of technical profession previously. A project manager acting as a BA. I told you, right? Technical architect acting as an BA because he knows solution components in and out. So he can draw such diagrams. But as an BA, I'm comfortable with this. So I'm comfortable with this, right? So we can draw some diagram like this. So don't worry. Just try to understand there are different way of representing the vision and the conceptual sequence of the overall diagram. Okay. Any questions for me at this moment? I know it's a bit technical, but yeah, I'm still, there. If you have any doubts, we can get it clear. You don't have to draw like this. You can draw like this also. Please don't, worry on different technicalities or different terminologies, right? So tomorrow, could you do a, high level diagram, the next session, and we can discuss on those, right? It's tomorrow, right? Yeah, tomorrow only. So just draw something on pen and paper, and we'll discuss it so that we know how you think in terms of how we envision the solution, how you basically represent the solution, right?
Any topic, or we can draw anything?
No, we talked about the attendance management system enhancement, right?
Okay.
Because I think we know the sample in and out, right?
Yes.
So just try to think or try to create a representation as per your thought process, right? And as I told you, there is no right or wrong. This is basically how you think. This is basically how you provide the solution to others in a pictorial way. As simple as that.
Okay.
Okay. Great. Now let's go to a bit more technicality. Microservices. This is another terminology which you need to understand in terms of as in business analyst. What is microservices? Now, whenever I depict in these type of what I can say logical layers, there is information flow from presentation layer to business layer, right? So whenever I key in my username password, it goes to the web server, right? So there are some services, there are some data flow happening which are normally happen through microservices, and there are some architectural type called service oriented architecture. There are various architecture type, frankly speaking. So microservices is one of them. Okay, I'll not really burden you with microservices right now. We can discuss these things at the end of our training sessions as well, because microservices is a hot cake right now. So if somebody asks you what is a microservice, it's a data communication mechanism. As simple as that. If you can remember that, that will be more than enough. Let's not get bogged by the technical terminology as of now. But whoever have a better grasp of technicality, they can understand this thing. They can understand the service oriented architecture. They can Google on service oriented architecture, and come back to me if you have any questions. There are different programming languages which the programmer used to develop a microservice. So let's not go into those technicality, okay? And we'll have a look at it. Whoever wants to understand in depth, but not necessary for everybody, right? We understand the cloud, we understand the mobile interface, the mobile UI components, and there are certain wearable device. And IoT is basically robotics. So we know how the robotics data communication is important. The wearable device like the smartwatch you put on your wrist, right? It communicates with your mobile. The data transfer is happened through a microservice. So every time mobile request your smartwatch saying, hey smartwatch, so could you please show this on your screen, the call coming from so and so person. So the smartwatch replies, yes please give me the details. So my your smartwatch can display a number saying ki calling, there's a call, incoming call from this number, right? You can see that text coming on your screen. So those content of that text comes from your mobile. So the data communication happening between these two are called microservices. Simple. Any confusion at this moment?
No.
Okay, great. So this is like, we are trying to understand the technicality of solutions, technicality of representing the solutions, technicality of understanding the different parts of solutions, right? Now, this is a microservice architecture of Amazon Web Service. When you basically get a, website, right? You have to have certain, as we discussed, a cloud-based service or cloud-based, wait a minute, sorry. So we are trying to understand a solution given by Amazon Cloud Services. So what is Amazon Cloud? Amazon is a cloud service provider. So Amazon provides me with a server which is on 24 by 7, right? And which is basically which can be accessed from anywhere in the world, right? So this Amazon, how does so microservice architecture on Amazon, how does it does that server works? So I have a cloud front, so where are the content delivered to me via mobile or via desktop, and there's a API gateway, advanced programming interface. So I can depict as a layer. So there's a content layer, there's an API layer, there's an application layer. Application is on the cloud server. Application is on the web server of Amazon, which can be in Timbuktu, which can be in Canada, which can be in India, which can be in South Africa. I don't care. I don't want to know. Only I'm cared about whenever I put my request, it should go to that server, and that server can fetch the data which is requested by me or required for the applications to support my request. Could you understand this? Again, I'll say this is envisioning the IT solution. So we need to understand couple of technicality about cloud, because now every application is deployed on cloud. So if the clients talk about cloud, you should know what is cloud. And Amazon service, AWS, Amazon Web Services is one of the cloud service provider. Google is another cloud service provider, right? So there are a number of cloud service provider. There are at least 300, 350 cloud service provider within New Jersey area. They can be totally different list in Midwestern area. In India, we have different cloud service provider, but Amazon, Google, these are global cloud service provider available throughout any region. Even if you go to Timbuktu, even if you go to South Africa, you have these service providers provide cloud services to you, right? So this is just another depiction of how I envision, how I think of microservice architecture. And this is basically a public domain document which is shared by AWS whenever you go to their AWS site, depicting how the microservice architecture is working for their cloud. A need to know, not must to know. A good to know, not must to know or need to know kind of scenario for a BA. We'll discuss this thing at the end of the training session whenever you normally prepare for interview. So don't worry about the technicality right now. By the time you'll know quite a few of these words, and you might describe to me very effectively. Please don't worry right now. Any questions at this moment?
No.
Great. Chalo, let's move on. I know it's a bit technicality, and today we are going to go more into technicality. Now this is another sort of HLD. Okay, this depicts high level progress of a software code, right? So first, developer create a software code, right? He do coding. What the process is coding, which creates code. Now unit testing is basically he or she, the developer itself, checks the code. Okay, is it in line with the requirement I got? Yes. Okay, then it says it's passed. Then it goes to a component level testing, which is basically the component is depicted in low level diagram, right? The component, is it working fine as an independent component? Yes. Then it moves to system integration testing, which is basically referred to the HLD. HLD, there's a conceptual block, can be called as let's go to our HLD. Let's say it's called SAP ERP data push pull block, where I normally communicating with the SAP, and there is this entity, right? So what I'll try to test whatever is keyed in this box of system integration testing is being communicated to the SAP, and I'm getting an acknowledgement from that guy, right? So this is a block which is included in the high level diagram as an entity, as an conceptual or logical entity in my solution, have been tested. So this HLD also represent all the major components or major parts or logical parts of the solutions, and that's how I verify it. Like all the components which I envisioned, where I've drawn the diagram, have been completed, and then it's ready for system testing. System testing is basically based on SRS. SRS is system requirement specification, which lists down all the requirements given by a client and against which I do the testing. So I test for all the requirement which client have given me in my first meeting, second meeting, third meeting, and a number of other meetings which I had with clients. I test it against the solution I have created as an Infosys before deploying it to the acceptance for the client. Right? See, these are the progressive layers of a code. एक छोटा code can be bundled as a single program. First, it goes to a unit testing. Then there are number of programs, which is basically a kind of component of the whole system, component of the whole solution. And there's something called system integration testing, which can be a bigger chunk of a system, bigger logical conceptual block of a system or a solution. And then the solution itself get tested based on the requirement given by the client. Could you understand that? I'm building a solution called attendance management system, and there are certain functionalities which client have given to me, which I need to check my systems against it. So current attendance system enhancement, can it do attendance? Yes. Then the checks, the test is cleared, test has been passed. Can it do can it track the time when the person came into my office? Yes. Okay, the time tracking checked, click. These are called test cases. So these test cases has to be executed and test against the requirement given by the client. That's what this diagram means. And there's something called quality assurance engineer, quality assurance team, and there's a development team. And as an BA, I oversee, I advise this whole scenario, I advise this whole progression in a advisory or approval capacity, the complete development. This is the scenario I'm talking about after approval of SRS, after they've started developing code. This is how the overall testing progression happens, which we're going to see in the next training capsules. Any questions for me at this moment?
Yeah, I was just wondering, what does a BA do in this?
BA basically is in the advisory or approval capacity to track the progress of the solutions as per the guidelines given in the SRS. See, these requirements I have, I have authored, right? As in BA, I have built the scope, the requirement, system requirement specification has been written by me. There are n number of requirements which has to be developed, implemented for a client, right? Could you understand that? As an BA, you have written a document called system requirement specification. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Now all these requirements, let's say requirement number 4. Requirement number 4 says the attendance management system has to track down the time of entry. Valid point? Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Okay. So whenever person A, employee A comes to a gate, put his iris or put his eye or put his finger to the biometric, the system should track the name and the time and shared with the server or the system internally. I don't want to know how it done, but yeah, it should communicate to a computer where it says Ravindra Pandey 8:56 a.m. entry at gate number 6, right? And this data has to be traveled to a server. So server can note this data in the attendance system. Does that a valid statement? So this is called a test case. This is called a use test case. So this is a use case, and this is basically I'll test the system against this use case, so that If this use case is validated, my solution, my developed solution is in line with the requirement. Does that make sense?
Yes, understood.
Okay.
Thank you.
So yeah, whenever that solution is going to get deployed, the BA normally checks for some of these use case personally, so that he can validate, he can approve the system is in conformance with the requirement. Does that answer your question?
Yes, completely.
Okay, great. So the conformance, the approval has basically in line with the HLD, in line with the each and every requirement which we depicted in SRS, and we check the developed system against that. This diagram depicts those things in high level blocks, conceptual blocks, and the flow overall in between. Okay. Now, could you understand this diagram? Any confusion at this moment?
No confusion.
Okay, great, no problem. I'll go one step ahead. Now we're trying to, we talked about HLD, LLD. LLD is low level design, low level diagram. HLD is high level design, high level diagram. HLD is bird's eye view. Now LLD, again, HLD is a, responsibility of the technical architect, solution architect. BA includes that thing in SRS because BA starts building the document called SRS. There are some components you might have an elementary vision of the system, but the solution architect, the project manager, or the technical architect validates those diagrams. So you can draw something like this. The solution architect can draw something like this. It depends. So you can have both these diagram in SRS, or you can just have this diagram in SRS, or you can have this diagram in SRS. And this diagram can be the part of FRS, which is authored and created by the project development team, right? So whenever an HLD is approved or revisited or redrawn by the technical team, it represents the block, or what you can say, a bird eye view of a LLD, low level diagram, which have detailed description of each and every module which has mentioned in HLD. So one block in HLD can relate to 6 block in LLD. We discussed, right? There's a BRD which have 6 to 7 functionality listed. There's a SRH which have 20 to 30 functionalities listed, which are kind of extension of those 6 functionality mentioned in BRD. Right? Business requirement document has been evolved to requirements from 6 to 20. Right? Could you relate to that? Any confusion here?
Okay.
Okay, sure. Then the project team, whenever they start designing, whenever they start building the actual functionality, they evolve these ideas, these visions, these business requirement mentioned by the the BA to a functional specifications, to an implementation document saying in .NET for one conceptual block in HLD has to be reflected to 10 different programs, 10 different logical or programmatic entities. So those 10 programs have been related to these number 3 in your SRS diagram. So LLD is basically evolution or next level descriptive diagrams of HLD. So one conceptual block in HLD can represent one diagram in LLD, right? For HLD, the target audience is a client, designers, reviewers, approval team, management team, and of course the program and solution team. Program and solution team means Infosys team. The designers are in Infosys. Client also can have designers. Client also have reviewers. Client also have the management or project sponsor teams. Now target audience for LLD is the designers team, the team within Infosys team where I'm going to work with, right? So LLD is kind of the next level documentation or next level of diagrams which are created by technical people or the guys who do programming, who are basically implementers of the solution, right? So in HLD, the main idea required to understand is the flow across various systems. So I have 6 various, different dabbas here. the logical conceptual entities interacting with each other. And if you go to LLD, there will be 60 different dabbas, 60 different logical components interacting with each others. Okay, could you understand that? We are trying to understand this difference because as in BA, you will be an approver authority or you will be a reviewer for LLD as well. So then and there you'll try to understand more about which are the technology, which are the conceptual blocks have been evolved from one of your requirement, and are they contradicting with the others? That's what you need to review. You need to understand so that whatever requirement you have authored in the SRS have been not contradicted with the expansion of the idea. That's the main intention of LLD, and that's the main intention why BA needs to know about the LLD, low level diagram, right, or low level document, whatever you want to call it. Is that understood, or any confusion at this moment?
No confusion. Understood.
Low
Okay.
level diagram we create before a high level diagram, so it will be
Oh,
like
madam. No. Low level diagram is not created by BA. They are created after approval of SRS and everything.
okay.
Low level diagrams are created by the project managers after the SRS has been approved, reviewed, paisa has been given for the starting of project, product or services.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, and LLD is basically part of FRS, functional requirement specification, where I have each program for a given functionality.
Okay.
HLD is basically I talk about modules or logical segregation of my solution, right?
Okay.
This is a logical solution of on the basis of number of programs I'm going to devise for a given box. So for one box or one logical component of HLD, there could be 10 or 15 different blocks of programs in LLD.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
Thank you.
Any other questions for me? BA does not draw LLD. LLD is quite technical. Only BA as in an approval or reviewer capacity, you suggest if there are any contradiction to your vision which we build in SRS, right? So we are not author or mostly approver bhi nahi, you are in an advisory capacity basically, because all the other who's draw these diagrams, they are pretty senior, means solution architect normally have at least 20 plus years of experience in IT. Then only they can really architect, because you need to compare different technologies, different architecture, different patterns and blah 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 things. So let's not go there, right? So you basically in advisory capacity saying कि boss ये जो आप प्रोग्राम बना रहे हैं ये इसके बिल्कुल उल्टा है जो मैंने सोचा था whenever I have written SRS, right? So जो भी अपन बनाएंगे it shouldn't contradict with the client thought process or client's business need. अपन ये सब client के लिए कर रहे हैं, right? We are developing the solution for a client.
Okay.
State farm, right? So जब भी मैं review करता हूँ LLD, I need to understand it's not contradicting with the requirements given by client. That's the overall, what I can say, authority of the BA. So you normally review the documents of very senior person within your organizations. That's also another critical responsibility BA has on its shoulder. That's why I'm trying to explain it to you. Okay, any confusion at this moment?
I'm good.
Okay, I believe everybody is good. Let's go to the next one. No, see, and we are basically, we are trying to understand the responsibility and the working hours of BA, right? So there are some challenges. This is a kind of challenge whenever you sit with a team which are really senior people and you tell them, boss, you're wrong here. Try to understand that.
Yes.
And it's a really great thing, because when you say that with your with your command, with your thought process, it really matters a lot, because you are in that capacity as an business user. And that's how we say in IT we have flat hierarchy. So we normally discuss this thing with with all the proof and data points and tell it, basically explain it to very senior people, saying, "Ki, boss, you're wrong. You have contradicting with our business idea, which we have keyed in SRS, which is approved by a client. So it's not what I said; it's what I have envisioned." And client say you're in right, in a right thought process, because whenever client approved it, and client played you some add-ons, right? So it's basically involving all the environmental, support factor for SRS, and with those supported fact, you're contradicting with your seniors, saying, ki, "Hey, solution architect, this is totally against the requirement. This was going against the requirement. So we either, tweak it a bit, or you need to check out कि इसको अपन कैसा ठीक कर सकते हैं, or get it in line with the business goals, to be precise. ठीक है? So you got your responsibility, right, as an BA? Have you understood this?
Yep. I would say, like, I believe
Yes.
there's a problem.
Great. No problem. And we'll make sure whenever you draw this HLD, that's why I'm saying try to draw an HLD, so that whatever you thought, and how to depict your thought process, how to put it on a pen and paper, right? Do it in a pen and paper. You can use Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, whatever you feel, but try to depict it, and then we can discuss it. Are you in line? Is it the right way? Is it the wrong way? There's no right or wrong, frankly speaking. It's basically how clearly you can communicate through diagram. That's what we want to see, right? So, try to do a bit of hands-on, so that we'll know it better. We are going to do it in our workshop, but at that time, I'll be a bit, stringent in, I'll be a bit stringent in saying right or wrong. But right now we are learning. So I'll say, try to draw a diagram, which we can discuss it along within ourselves, so that we can do it right at the next time. Okay. So this homework is important, as we did it for the use case, as we did it for the, the other practice as well. Okay. So try to do it. And next, tomorrow's class, we'll discuss it. Okay. Let's move ahead. Now, a step further. The goal of HLD is basically convert business requirement to high-level solution, right? So my HLD depicts a high-level solution, a conceptual solution, which can be tweaked, which can be, enhanced, evolved as the times come. The LLD converts the high-level solution to a detailed solution. Now I am coming to a level where I have decided to use .NET, where I have decided to use framework called observer pattern, where I decided to use microservices, where I have already decided to use Google Cloud services, and n number of other factors. Okay, so my business thought process have been evolved to a level where we have discussed and got approved by the team to use all the nitty-gritties which are required to develop this solution, and we have started developing it, right? So this is how the overall progression of your SRS is happening, or the progression of HLD is happening, right? Now the chronology, when SRS is created, when HLD is created, after BRD. So BRD, the business requirement document, is the base for SRS, right? Now, chronologically, the high-level document get evolved into a design document, a solution design, a infrastructure design, and so on and so forth, a number of programs. So the chronology or the sequential execution, BRD to SRS, SRD to FRS, BRD to HLD, HLD to LLD. Is it clear to everyone? I am purposely using these small, these abbreviations rather than complete labels, because we need to learn these things as an BA. So when somebody says HLD, I should know there's a diagram called high level diagram, which is a bird's eye view of a solution, right? Now here it clearly says the creator of HLD is solution architect, right? So BA just depicts his thought process in a dabbas, and then solution architects build the HLD on these, good looking layers or good looking arrows and, images, and or these vertical and horizontal images. I can draw something like this, can be evolved into something like this, can be evolved into something like this. Okay. So I need to understand how the evolution takes place. So I'll repeat again, HLD is not a responsibility of a BA, but BA envisions it. BA depicts the thought process in a diagram which is validated or which is corrected or evolved by the solution architect team or the project management team or so on and so forth. Okay, and LLD, of course, those are the designer, developers, solution architects, and it's a team of gamut of people for LLDs. For HLD, the input is software requirement specifications, the functionality listed in SRS, right? For LLD, reviewed and authorized high-level diagram is the input for LLD. HLD can have database design, can have functional design, can have a review record, right? The result of LLD is basically a program specification, a unit test plan, the number of programs to be developed, number of programs representing the module or the block representing HLD. Any confusion at this moment? Anybody wants any detail on a specific mumbo jumbos of the technicalities? I know it's difficult to learn. We are still understanding. We are still trying to get ourselves acquainted with the various depiction, various specific terminology used by IT or overall for a BA. So it's a learning. I know you can't learn everything in a day. I can understand that. Only you should be get acquainted with such labels. So you should know BRD, SRS, HLD, LLD by now, right? Now we are talking going in a day step further, saying database, saying functional design, talking about test plans. We're going to learn each of these things in the subsequent capsules. In QA/QC, you learn about the test planning, you learn about the specification validations, how the authorization of a document works, how the document traceability is implemented, and so on and so forth. So please don't worry if you missed out, couple of terminology here. But have you understood the mota requirement of HLD or the difference between HLD and LLD?
Yes.
Great. That's what overall required at this moment. Anybody else want to ask any questions? I'll take it as a no. Okay, let's move ahead. Now, yeah, we talked about entities, right? Entities are basically different logical components, or it can be physical components for that matters. But entity word is normally used in terms of database, right? And as we talked about database, we need to understand what is a database, how it's reflected, how we can basically convert different data entities, like as we draw on an Excel sheet, right? We have created an Excel sheet for my expenses, right? So I can create a database of my expenses. For my expenses, whatever the table can represent a database. A row can be a table. Sorry, that Excel sheet can be a database. Table can be a table, or what you can say, a data entity where rows and columns are there, right? So we're trying to understand how to make it more accessible, how to make it more efficiently retrievable for everybody, right? Just a question, do you want me to stop right now because we talk too much technical, or should we go ahead for next 15 minutes? I want to take your take on this. What do you think? Because this is another really heavy technical terminology which we're going to learn today, or and this is a kind of logical break where you can start thinking about HLD. Try to draw an HLD, take this 10-15 minutes, and from next session we can start on entity relationship. This
Yes,
is
if it's heavy, we can do it tomorrow.
okay, no problem. Okay,
That's
any
my
Focus
thought.
on HLD today.
That's my thought.
Sure, sure. Anybody else?
Yeah, I echo that. We should better focus on HLD today and then.
Sure, definitely. Anybody else wants to contradict with this? Great. So I'll let's come to an agreement. Let's stop here. As in homework, try to draw HLD whatever you think. Don't think about those layers and those dabbas and those connectors. Try to put on paper whatever you thought, whatever you envision as the requirement. As an Infosys employee, as an BA, you are suggesting this solution to State Farm, right? As an insurance company. So just relax, have a tea, and draw these diagrams whenever you are at leisure, where you can think uh, to get this pen and paper drawn diagram to a State Farm saying, "Ki boss, this is the solutions whatever we discussed earlier, and I thought the solution can look like this." And you could be able to explain those things in terms of what are these box contained, whatever it written in between, the logical different or conceptual different entities you drawn on that diagram, right? It should be just depicting whatever you are giving as a solution to State Farm, right? Anybody wants to ask any questions or any confusion on drawing this HLD?
I'll message you if anything.
Could you speak a bit louder? I'm sorry.
Sorry, I said I'll message you if I have any questions.
Sure, definitely. I'm on WhatsApp, so please, keep messaging me. I might, be busy, so I might, reply within 20 minutes or 5 minutes, depends on the availability. So please be with me on that. But yeah, I'll be attentive and I'll reply to you.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else want to ask any questions at this moment?
No, you can continue.
Great then. So I'll leave it up to you. Please draw this thing. This is important because understanding your conceptualization is important, right? And as an employee of Infosys, you are going to State Farm to suggest the solution to them, right? So think it in that line as well. So we are stepping into the shoe of an IT employee. Business analysts are normally a part of IT fraternity, right? Which is really matured in terms of solution giving. So you are doing a matured work. So think it from that angle as well. I'm not terrifying you. I'm trying to suggest you the best approach, right? I'll leave you up, leave you here at this moment. Chalo, have a nice time and enjoy the Diwali. This is not the right way to communicate the wish right now, because I know there's a lot to think through and lot to basically put on the pen and paper as well. So best luck from my side, and let's meet tomorrow same time. Okay,
Thank you.
thanks a lot. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Good night. Good night.
You too. Good night.